Shinder here on Drum Talk TV. Thanks for joining me here with my special guest, Emmanuelle Caplette.
Hello!
So great to see you finally in person here in Montreal in Emmanuelle's studio.
Yes.
With her great drum kit here, which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. Emmanuelle, at a very young age in her career, has already done so much. We're going to get into everything, but I got to give everybody a little bit of an introduction for those who may not be, for whatever reason, not real familiar with what you've done. But at a very young age, at 9, she started in drum corps. Now, you all know that every time I've brought on a guest who has had any kind of drum corps experience, it always leads to not just great drumming, but great drumming discussions as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her influences on the rest of her musical education, and then rising to the pop stardom that she's a part of right now. Now, you know, I don't really like to use the word YouTube sensation, but let's face it, you've had a lot of success by putting a lot of great videos on YouTube. You've won over a lot of fans, not just your drumming, but your charm. I've never said this to anybody, but you have the best endings of any drum videos I've ever seen. And we're going to visit some of those. They're great. But Emmanuelle has also been on clinics, tours. She's played amazing drumming festivals around the world that we'll talk about. Her passport is filled up with some great stamps of all her wonderful drumming traveling experiences and the great drummers you've had the pleasure of hanging out with and playing with. We'll talk about that. We're going to get into a lot of things. I also want to mention there's a great article that you're featured in the winter 2012 issue of Tom Tom Magazine, issue number 12. It's a great, make sure I turn to the right picture. Hello. It's a great article. It's not real long. Anytime I read a great interview, I always want more. Tom Tom Magazine, in my opinion, is absolutely one of the best drumming publications on the market. Their photography is great. And this is in fact, this is such a great picture of Emmanuelle. It's the screensaver for all 9 computers at Drum Talk TV. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
And a lot of people actually have written me and ask her about the tattoo. But that's not a tattoo,
It's not a tattoo. No, it's a body painting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
What's the story behind that, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, the story, it's because I worked with a singer for children's, and she has a character, and it's a frog. And the body painting girl, I don't know how to say that.
Right.
She designed the frog on her. And I love her work. And I asked to her, would you like to draw a tattoo?
Right.
So she told me, yes, of course, it will be cool for your photo shoot. So
that's great.
Yeah,
and it worked out really well.
Yeah.
A lot of drummed up, no pun intended, but it drummed up a lot of interest. And people just love it. I mean, they were asking me about it. I'm like, I don't know. I'll ask her.
It was just a body painting, and I didn't want to take my shower after because it was like,
how long does it last?
Does it last?
How long does it stay on?
Oh, just one day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Until you wash it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
So you didn't shower for like 2 weeks, so you could show it off? Oh, okay.
No.
So let's start kind of from the beginning, Emmanuelle. You're 9 years old, and you get into, of all things, drum corps.
Yeah.
Now, here we are in 2013, and let's face it, a lot of people still think that female drummers is kind of a weird thing. Like, why do girls have to get into drumming? Why don't they play the harp or the flute or the guitar or something? And I don't think there's anyone on the planet, other than Mindy Abovitz, of course, at Tom Tom Magazine, she would be the exception, that's a bigger advocate of female drummers than myself and our team here at Drum Talk TV. So my question is, what was it at 9 years old that got you not just interested in the drums, but drum corps? Because that's very... It's strict. I mean, you have to really stay within guidelines, not just in playing, but you learn discipline and all kinds of things with it, right?
Discipline, yeah, exactly. And drum corps, I started at 9 years old, and my friend told me, do you want to play drums or trumpet? And I'm like, oh, maybe drums. It's cool. We travel all around the Quebec area, and we do some parades.
Parade.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, I love music. My father is a musician, so okay, why not? So I went to a practice, and I fell in love with the snare drums. Yeah, I just ate it, and I was like, oh, I want to play that for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yes,
you
seriously.
knew that then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what was the next step? Did your mother or father enroll you into drum corps? Or did you start taking traditional style drum lessons?
I just start drum corps each weekend. It was each Saturday we were rehearsal. So we did that for 1 year in my first drum corps.
Right.
And I just keep it going until 18.
Right,
like that.
and you
I
competed,
moved.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you
and
won some championships in the competitions. Talk
exactly.
about that. What was it like to go from 9 years old to now you're winning championships as a teenager?
Yeah, but I did my first DCI, the Drum Corps International Championship, at 13 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so we travel in the States with a good drum corps from Quebec.
Right.
And so it was amazing to see the best drummer of the world in the drum corps stuff.
All in one place.
It was I was impressed.
And realized, wow, we're really good.
Yeah. We were in the final. So we didn't win the championship, but we were in the final, and it was a great moment for us.
Now, someone wrote me a question they wanted me to ask you, and I apologize that I don't remember her name, but she asked, she's a drum corps mom, so she wanted to ask who you marched with. So who did you play with in drum corps during like those, from 13 on?
Oh, the Dimension.
Okay.
Dimension from Lévis, Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then you went to Drummondville, right?
Yeah,
to
Drummondville College.
And what did you study there?
The drum. The drum set. Yeah, I start, after my high school, I start drum set.
Drum set.
Yeah.
Had you not played a drum set until you were that age? Really?
No, I start late, drum set. Yeah, at 18.
But you had a great foundation.
Of
with
the
your rudiments,
technical,
technique.
Exactly.
How easy was it for you to transfer those skills on the marching snare and drum corps to the drum kit and spreading those skills out to the other family members? Now you got a bass drum and a snare and toms. Did you get it right away and say, "Wow, now I can do all this," or was it confusing?
No, I wasn't confused, but I had facility to work, but I didn't understand what's mean groove at that time, because in the drum corps it's super stiff.
Right.
And when we play with 5 other snare players, we need to be clean.
Yeah,
and
it has to sound like one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And on a drum set, we need to groove. So I didn't understand at that time what's mean the groove.
Right.
So I was playing like a Casio, like a drum machine, and so square. So I learned at the college what's the groove and the feel.
And in essence, how did you make that transition? Because there are a lot of... I'm going to ask this for 2 reasons. There's a lot of drummers out there who are great with rudiments and they do still play tight. And then there's a lot of drummers out there that don't think rudiments are important because they play a drum kit or because they're afraid it's going to make them tight. So keeping that in mind to school both those groups in 2 different ways with the same answer, how did you go from that transition of being real tight and almost robotic and mechanical and technically perfect to then realizing and learning what groove is? Because you certainly have groove now.
Yeah, I hope.
You do. We're going to drop a video in a minute, but how would you explain? What's the easiest way for someone to sort of get their head around understanding what it is to make that transition?
The good thing is I start listening music. It's weird to tell, because when I was young, when I was a teenager, I just listening soundtracks, movie.
Just movie soundtracks?
Just movie soundtracks.
Wow.
It's weird. No rocks, no Led Zeppelin. I didn't know what it is.
Right.
so my
No
musical
pop
culture,
or blues
not
or
really,
jazz or anything?
no, nothing. So it was weird.
Yeah,
so it's
That is weird.
That is weird.
Is that a
yeah.
French-Canadian thing, or is it just you?
Maybe it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I start listening jazz. Okay. Yeah, my teacher, he told me you should listening Miles Davis, you know. So I was, okay, Miles Davis. Okay, cool. So I start listening jazz and I start learning jazz too.
Did
so
you play to it? Play along with it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And it helped me so much.
Right.
Yeah, so I understand the feel and I'm like, okay. So after 3 years of studying, I understood.
That's great.
Yeah. So a lot of work, a lot of listening, a lot of playing with the music. So it was totally another school for me.
Great.
But,
Well, let's show everybody your groove. We're going to drop in one of my favorite videos I've seen of you right now. It's Phase 1.
Phase 1, yeah.
Which is a jazzy fusion instrumental piece. So check this out. This is Emmanuelle Caplette grooving on Phase 1. So that's a great demonstration right there of groove. I mean, what a long way to come from, just being so tight and technical, which you have to be for drum corps, so that 5 people can sound like one, to doing something like Phase 1, What do you think is the most important thing a drummer should keep in mind so that when they play the set, whether it's jazz or blues or hard rock, what can you recommend so that they can play relaxed but still play, with volition, still play with force, and velocity, but still be relaxed? Because you're obviously very relaxed when you play.
I am relaxed, but a drummer needs to play for the music, for the melody, okay? And if you are stiff, you doesn't work with the music.
Right.
So for me, it's just natural to just play, not think.
Right. Don't
You know?
overthink it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do anything special with your breathing when you play? Or is it
a good question?
unconscious?
I work on it when I was young in the drum corps because it was
really?
really important because we do some we walk a lot
Right.
with the instruments.
So you do a lot of synchronized maneuvers, right?
Exactly. And but now I know I breathe normally. I think, because I'm not red, you know.
Right, right.
I'm not
And
like
that's
this.
my point. You don't turn colors and you don't look winded.
No.
You know, at the end of your playing. So I wonder because I see a lot of people play. And they look very winded when they're
I know.
playing. And they may say, well, I'm playing harder. But I think I play a lot, and I can play pretty hard. And I personally, I use some yogic breathing while I'm playing.
That's great, yeah.
And that keeps me from, and I'm like 3 times your age. And I don't get winded when I play. So that's why I was curious, you know, about that question.
And I don't eat, you know, with my arms and...
Right.
Everything is here.
Right, in your fingers and wrists.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I feel super relaxed, comfortable.
Right.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about your clinics.
Okay.
Tell everyone, like, what goes into designing a clinic? How do you decide when you're going to go out and do a clinic, okay, this is what I'm going to show. This is what I'm going to demonstrate. What goes through your mind when you're, you know, getting ready to design a clinic?
Yeah, I want first to talk about my passion, about the music.
Right.
And I want to give some advice, exercises about the technique and the rhythms because it's really, really important for a drummer.
Right.
To have a good technique. And so I talk a lot about rhythms on a pad, when you practice on a pad, and how to apply it on a drum kit.
Right.
So I give a couple of exercises about that, and I talk about some qualities and skills when you record in studios.
Right.
Really important because if you play a drum solo in a pop song, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And that I think also goes back to playing for the music.
Exactly.
Understand your role as a drummer for whatever that music is that you're playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab, there's some drumsticks here that I'm going to grab because I want you to show everybody something and teach me something I saw you do in a clinic. And you did this thing where you showed everyone how to do, explain that and show me because I saw that and I replayed that part about 10 times because it looked so impressive, honestly, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing you do and hearing how fast you were doing. The whole clinic is in French except for the playing part. Because playing is, of course, you know, international language.
Yes.
And I knew what you were saying just by what you were doing. It was really cool. So talk about this. This looks like an amazing exercise.
Yeah, because if you play on your forearms like this, it's the same technique when you play on a snare.
Okay.
It's the same thing. And it's the same movement. Okay? It's the same thing. You play with your fingers.
Right.
And if you play like this, it doesn't work.
Right.
It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you did the doubles.
Yeah.
Show that exercise because that's something I want to.
It's just.
What I like about this is you're not relying on the bounce or
you can practice on a pillow.
Okay, and it would do the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same feeling. So it's important to have the same sound, not like this.
Right, right. Keep it even.
Yeah. So if you are able to play like this, it will be easy on the drums.
Right.
And especially on the floor toms.
Yeah, because you've got the resonance of you've got the bounce of the top head, the resonance of the bottom head for sound, but you can use the resiliency of the bounce of the head, whereas this, you're training your fingers to do all the work, right?
Exactly.
I got to try it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm totally prepared to embarrass myself. Did I tell you I've never played drums before, though? No.
Nah. But don't be afraid to play with your wrist.
I got to practice.
No, but you're good. You're good.
See, that's so much easier. That's a great exercise.
Yeah, this is a great exercise.
What do people say when you do your clinics, Emmanuelle? What's the thing you hear the most from people after you put on a clinic? I presume you hang out and maybe sign some autographs, talk to some people.
Yeah.
Is there something you hear more often than others from people? Something they ask you or comments that they make about the clinic they just saw?
The people love when I talk about self-promotion.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you for the tricks and about how you record your videos, because I talk about this too.
Right.
And the tricks like this. So it's so cool. Oh yeah, it's easy. Not easy, but it's easy to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So okay.
And they get the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And after I got so many emails of thank you for coming. I love the way you teach. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, cool. Thank you.
You do have a really good style, you know. Not just playing, but I mean, when you do your clinics, it seems like you have everybody with you, you know.
Yeah.
You're real personable, you know, you got a great personality. Like I said, I'll use the word again, a lot of charm comes through in your playing. And I was thinking about this morning before we got together. I was thinking of all my favorite drummers. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to think of what's one of the main things they have in common. And a lot of my favorite drummers span many different genres of music. And what they all have in common is something I see in every one of your videos, and that is that you're so relaxed and that you're having so much fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can tell the passion just comes right out of you. And then, like I said, then you have this little thing at the end of every video that's just great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I want to drop in another video for people to see.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of technique in this. A lot of, I like the syncopation and things like that. And so when we come back from watching this video, I want to talk about off times and playing patterns over patterns, things like that.
Okay.
So this song is actually by the same writer as the first piece you saw, Phase 1, and the writer was your instructor at Drummondville, is that correct?
Yeah, he was the band teacher.
The band teacher?
Yeah,
okay.
Improvisation, and Sylvain Marcotte. Yeah.
This piece is another instrumental, and it's called Contravention. Check this out, nice and relaxed, and playing some great odd times on top of each other. Check this out. So again, that is a piece that has a lot of great syncopation, different odd times.
Yeah.
For a drummer who's really into just 4/4 rocking out, what would you say to them to encourage them to stretch out a little bit and learn to play some of these other time signatures and play on the offbeats, the upbeats, and work with accents differently, and how that would help their playing for what they like to play the most? You know, how would it influence their playing, and why would it be worth the trouble, I guess is what I'm saying, for them to stretch out a 4/4 and learn something like phase one or contravention style playing?
Oh, I don't know how to explain that, but you know, to play hot time signature like that, it's cool sometimes to play out of the comfort zone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
the challenge.
Yeah, it's for the challenge, and this is really interesting. It's for me, fusion stuff like contravention, it's like a pop song. I visualize like this song is like a pop song. So we have the theme, you know, solo, and we come back to the theme. So it's for me, it's like a pop. So
it's structured the same, but the style of play is just a bit different, right?
Yeah, it's just a bit different.
So you give it the same approach.
Exactly.
Just
for
the
me, it's the
technique
same.
is different. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. Let's talk about, a lot of people have seen a lot of videos that were done in this room.
Yeah.
You obviously have some other videos that are on. You have, I noticed, over 2 million views on your YouTube channel, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
And
I have a couple of you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've noticed how great the drums sound. So let's talk about your equipment. Let's talk about Sonar drums, Sabian cymbals. I know you use Evan heads.
Yep.
We were just playing with Vic Firth sticks.
Yes.
And you also have a really interesting recording setup. We'll talk about that after we go through the gear. So as you describe your kit, it's sitting right here with us. But as you describe the kit, I'll cut in some video that was taken of your kit as well. So tell the story that we talked a little bit about this morning. Because I mentioned I saw the video of you picking up this kit.
Yes.
And it's the Accent series from Sonar. It's beach shells. And you wanted some special sizes made. So kind of tell
custom sizes.
Custom sizes. Tell that story and what you ended up with.
Yeah, I asked to German guy to build me Accent series, and with 16 inches bass drum. Why? Because I love that. That's for me. It sounds amazing, and I'm a small person. So if I play with a 24 inches bass drum,
she'd have to sit on a phone book so we could see her.
I look like a 5 years old children. You know what I mean? So no, that's true, and it sounds amazing. And yeah, and I have a tom. It's 10/8.
10/8, okay.
And special floor toms. It's like the first one. It's 13/10, and the second one is 14/11.
They're quite small.
It's super small.
But something that's very unique about your style is that you tune them down to big drum sizes.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of people these days are going with smaller sizes, faster sounds, shorter sounds. I find that a lot in reggae and gospel music, a lot of pop music. But you tune yours down to like a rock sort of tune.
Exactly.
And it works really well even if you are playing jazz or fusion.
Yeah.
What's the desire? What is the attraction for you to keep your drums that low, and why the small sizes? If you're going to do that, kind of explain what's the connection there.
Hey boy, how can I say that? It's just I feel really comfortable to play with a small kit, and seriously, it's easy to tune.
Is it easier to tune?
Yeah, it's more easy than a big floor tom.
Right, it's probably easier to move too, right?
Yeah. No, it's just this is my style.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with this drum when I tried it for the first time in 2007. Yeah, and since that time I don't want to change it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you have another snare as well.
Yeah.
Right? And what size is that again?
12
It's
by
12 inch.
5.
And
Yeah.
what is, I see a lot of comments on the web in these different drum groups I belong to. And a lot of people say, why does someone need a second snare? You know, my thing is, well, why would you need more than one tom-tom or more than one cymbal? It's different sounds, different tones,
Yeah.
different textures. It's the same thing. What's wrong with 2 or 3 or even 4 snares? How do you utilize your second snare the most in your playing?
I use it often when I play pop music. Yeah, because in the verse, sometimes I need a snare sounds more high.
Right.
You know? And when I come to the chorus, more fat snare.
Yeah.
Or when I play drum and bass stuff, it's really cool to play on the second snare.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And go through your cymbal line. I know you're a Sabian artist.
Yes.
And how did you tell us what you have and how you went about choosing that setup?
Boy, I really love the HHX series Evolution. Yeah, and it's the perfect mix with my drums, and I can play every style of music with those cymbals.
So the setup you have is very versatile.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
And it's the same thing. I don't tune my drums for a style.
Right.
I always use the same sound.
Okay.
For me, it's perfect.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your bass drum sounds a lot bigger than it is. And you have a great sound engineer who has really pulled this together. You have 2 overheads.
Yeah, here. Yeah, when I practice with 2 overheads and bass drum.
And the bass drum.
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that how you record most of your videos in here?
No, I had a snare, microphone,
Okay.
and toms. Yeah.
And when you record with this setup, do you listen back a lot to your own playing? Or do you watch your own videos a lot? No?
No.
Why? You don't like to see yourself or hear yourself?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know it's because it's okay and it works.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And I make videos since 7 years.
Right.
So now I know how I look. I know.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I pay attention to my playing. It's just that I don't watch my look or everything. Yeah.
And talk about your heads, your Evans heads.
Yeah. I play with EC2 clear on the top.
Tops.
Yeah, top. Yeah, on the toms, and the EC resonant on the bottom.
On the bottom.
Yeah.
What about on the snare?
On the snare, it's ST dry. Yeah.
Okay.
Coated.
Great. Yeah, they sound great.
Yeah, it sounds
It's a great
amazing.
combination.
And on the bottom, it's a AZ 300.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about these. We follow each other on Facebook, and I watch when you're going in and out of town and everything. And you and Glenn performed in France at the Tam Tam Festival,
exactly.
which is only one of many festivals that you've played at with some great drummers. I know you've worked with Benny Kreb. And talk a little bit about those experiences.
Oh, I love play in some drum festival because the drum community is just amazing. Everybody is cool. No pretension.
Right?
Is that?
Yeah. No pretension.
No pretensions, and we can share so many things about the drums. We can talk about experience. So this is always a great moment for me, and I think for the other drummers. So yeah.
What's 1 or 2 of your favorite festival experiences you had, and who was there? And I ask this so that other drummers can. It's something for them to aspire to. I think. You know.
Yeah. I went to Spain last year, La Rioja Drumming Festival. Thomas Lang was there.
Oh wow.
Benny Greb, Damien Schmidt.
Wow.
You? Yeah,
Emmanuelle
me,
Caplette
Mike Mangini. Mike Mangini.
Mike Mangini was
and
there
Don
too.
Famulago was the host
Okay.
of the event, so it was great. It was a great moment. We drink a little bit wine. It was so cool, and it was a great moment.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that, you hit the nail on the head when you say that the drumming community is so cool. I think drummers are different. I don't think there's any competition
No
You know,
competition.
they're so much more open with each other and supportive
Yeah.
of each other.
Yeah.
I love that about the drumming community. You know, I'm always getting just the nicest letters and letters on notes and stuff on behalf of other people. Like when we post about you, the great comments we get. It's really neat to see everybody get the love from fellow drummers. You
Yeah,
know?
that's
It's
awesome.
great. I don't know if it's like that in the other musical communities. I've noticed it some other, and not all, this isn't across the board, of course, but it just seems like there's a lot of other musical and musician communities where they're just a little bit more competitive. You know, they don't want to give up their secrets, or you know, where drummers are just so much more into each other's gear. Even if they work with different manufacturers and stuff, there's just I think in a way drummers are gearheads too. They're really into their stuff. You know, so here's a big question for you. You've gone from being 9 years old and getting right into drum corps.
Yeah.
Then you go drum corps into college, and you learn all about playing on a kit and applying those skills to the kit, figuring out what the groove is.
Yeah.
You got to have some great experiences, which we haven't even gotten into yet, playing with some great Canadian pop stars. In fact, let's take a little detour. Who are some of those pop stars that you started to play with that really started to elevate your career? And talk about the Brocco show a little bit too.
The Brocco show. Oh, it was a children TV show. And I did it for 2 years. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, because I love to work with cameras and the child and everybody.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a great experience to me. Yeah. And it was on CBC in French, so it great.
A lot of
TV.
exposure.
Yeah, a lot of exposure, and and I play with some pop stars in Quebec.
Right.
Yeah. So with Norman Brathwaite is a guy from Quebec, but he did everything, like award thing. He was a big host and.
Right.
He encourage, is it a good word?
Yeah.
The musicians.
Yeah.
So he works a lot with musicians and help them in the career and everything. So I play with them in the Just Fall Laughed festival, a big festival here.
Right.
And
so all of that kind of elevated your career, and then you got into doing clinics.
Yeah.
And the big drum festivals.
Yeah.
Now, before I ask you the big question, one more little detour. Now you're also doing something that's a little bit new to you, is while you've had a lot of cover videos, cover songs that you've played to, and you've got a lot of live performance clips, you're getting into doing lessons online.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And is there any other materials that accompanies that? Do you write them out?
I
Is it
write
strictly
out.
video? Okay,
Yeah,
you write
yeah.
them all out.
Yeah, it's a long process to do. It's because I need to write all of the exercise. I want to do pre-production here.
Pre-production here?
Yeah, pre-production. Yeah, because I want to do it in French and in English.
So it really is twice the work
Yeah,
when you do that.
yeah. And I want to rent the video online. So I need to build the website so it's a long process, but it will work. And I want to do it on Skype also. So both things.
A very great tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It suddenly your audience opens. It's worldwide all of a sudden. You know.
Yeah.
So now you've gotten to the point where you're doing that. What is next? I mean, what's your big picture dream? Where do you want to take all this? Because you seem like the sort of person that wants to keep either elevating or branching out and, all those things. You keep getting better and better. You keep turning out better material. Where do you want to take all that?
I'd like to work with a pop artist singer all around the world. Like pop stars as Beyonce, Pink, something like those girls, those singers. This is my dream.
Is it because they're so popular, or is that an attraction is that where your heart is musically?
Because I like those kind of music.
You like to play that kind of music?
pop grooves.
Right.
That's my favorite thing
Yeah.
in the world.
Is that
the
why?
backbeat always, yeah. And I like to see people dance.
Right.
So, and
You don't want to see me dance, believe me.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure
No,
you
you
don't
don't.
want to.
Okay.
No. Not all drummers can dance. We provide the beat, but not all drummers
exactly.
can dance,
I agree
right?
with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most drummers
I dance like a robot.
don't even...
Like this, you know what I mean? No,
Most
I'm
drummers
horrible.
don't even
I'm a
like to
horrible
dance.
dancer.
Yeah.
Terrible dancer.
But we can provide the groove and the beat.
Exactly.
So all those experiences of drum corps and fusion and jazz and all of that, you pour all of that into pop, and that's really where you want to take this, is to play with a big pop star. Is that why a lot of your play-along and cover videos are pop-oriented?
Exactly,
is that kind of
that's the
your
reason.
business card in a way to say, hey, this is what I do?
This is, I do so many pop videos for that reason. It's not because I cannot play fusion drum and bass stuff. It's because this is my card. I want to play pop music, but I'm also open to play fusion and jazz, but in my heart, I want to play pop stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, and I wish to get a TV show like Jay Leno or Saturday Night Live, something like this. I love that.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
Now,
we'll see.
when you say that, do you mean you want to be the band leader, or do you want to be the host of the show?
Oh, interesting. Why not the band leader or the drummer of the house band?
Okay.
But I like to talk too, but I need to improve my English speaking.
No, you don't have to worry about that. It's funny, when Emmanuelle and I first started talking about this, she wanted me to send her a list of questions. And I said, well, I don't really do that, but why? And you said, so that I can kind of get to know the answers. You're concerned about your English.
I wanted to prepare my answers.
Yeah, and I just laughed because I've seen so many of your videos, and we had talked on Skype and everything. I'm like, what's you worried about her English for? So I said, okay, so then we'll both do the interview in Russian instead.
Oh, yeah.
But we decided not to do that.
It's better like this.
Yeah, it is. What would you tell the parents of a young lady who wants to play the drums, and maybe the parents don't think that that's very ladylike? You know, maybe they're not real supportive. And what would you tell young ladies that are thinking about playing the drums, but maybe they're pulling back a little bit because they're afraid how people will see them? And I bring this up because I do still think it's an issue with a lot of people. Would you agree? I mean,
but if the young ladies wants to play drums, go. Just let them play. Maybe it's just for fun. So
right. Everyone, I think, should have the chance to pour their passion into what they're most passionate about. And at least have the opportunity to find out if that's their passion. I don't think it matters what gender you are or what you decide you want to do. You know?
I think gender now for the musical industry, it's not a problem now. So many female musicians exist now, so that's cool, and they are accepted, in the industries and everything. So. And my mother, when I told her, I want to play drums, blah, 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 and she told me, oh, pay attention, the producers are dangerous. Ooh. I'm like, come on, I'm a strong woman, like this, No, I just trust the life,
Right. And how has it worked out? I mean,
now she's happy, but she was afraid.
Right.
But I have, a good drive.
Yeah.
So I'm... how can I say, ambitious,
and
I have a goal, and I work hard. So I said to her, "Don't worry for me. I'll be fine."
Right, and you do have. I see that you're very goal oriented because you've been able to set marks for yourself and accomplish those things. I mean, if we look back at I just repeated her career a little while ago, and if you look at that, they're all steps that all led to something else, and it seems like you're the type of person that brought all those experiences to the next thing, and then you brought all that to the next thing, and now you're talking about really creating the apex of your career by hopefully hooking up with a really big pop star to play the kind of music you like to play the most. Great.
Yes.
thanks for coming on so much.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And you're welcome to come on Drum Talk TV anytime you want.
Perfect.
Anytime you have something to promote, whether it's the online lessons, if you're going to a festival, if you're at a festival, drop us a line, send us clips, pictures, and everything.
I will.
And we'll do more interviews.
Absolutely.
And hope you enjoyed this interview with Emmanuelle Caplette. I can't believe it. So happy
with
to
my
interview
beautiful
you.
English speaking.
Yeah, beautiful stoner kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful. And I just want to remind everybody, the whole point of these interviews is just another way of learning drum lessons. Not all lessons happen behind a practice pad or at the drum kit. Many lessons can be learned by just having an open mind and listening to discussions based on other people's unique experiences, and that's how their perspectives are formed. And when we share all those experiences and ideas, we learn from each other.
Exactly. It's important.
So thank you very much.
Welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you very much for joining us. Be sure to like us on Facebook, sign up for the newsletter, and you could follow Emmanuelle all over the internet. Her information's magically right here. Make sure you follow her, and happy drumming. Stick with it. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Schinder with Emmanuelle Caplette on Drum Talk TV.
Bye.